We're vibing. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to wave my red flag in your face. It's not for
I'm
you.
I'm a walking red flag.
If I could
Wa-
have a different nickname, I feel like it would not be Zero. It'd be Red Flag.
Red
I don't know
flag.
why, because I don't think I'm a red flag, but you know, I bet every red flag thinks they're not a red flag.
That's true. I don't think you're a red flag.
I don't think so either. I think I'm the average level of red flag, if we're gonna
Is
have
it?
an
Does
average.
everyone have a level of a red flag in them?
I don't know. I feel like we all have attributes, we'll put it nicely. We all have things,
So
whether
there
it's
is.
an ick or a quirk, or maybe you don't realize that you're selfish at family style meals and you eat all the garlic bread. I don't know, but we all have our things that make us a red flag to somebody.
I guess because like I never thought of it as like a metered system. I thought it was
Yeah.
either like you are or you aren't.
Yeah. I mean, you can throw up red flags and be a perfectly fine green flag person. I think we all have our oopsies. I don't know. But
Hmm.
to like be a bona fide red flag like Sarah Boone, you just live that, like you're just giving red flag vibes 24/7.
She is the red flag.
So
She's
I
the
didn't
red flag.
I didn't know, this might be a weird thing to pick up, but it's fascinating to me. When we talked before about how, where are these people in the world? They're like, let me get in a suitcase. Yeah. I'm that person that when challenged, like I can fit in there. I'm 5'2" on a good day. And most of the time I'm somewhere between 125 and 135 pounds. But I was thinking, how the hell? I thought they said he was 6'2". So for this whole time,
Oh,
I thought he was just super tall. And then they said he was like 100 pounds. I'm like, wait a minute, that's an overgrown toddler. Like that's a large middle schooler, maybe. I don't know. But how did he fit? And then I realized he's my size and she's my weight. Like I had it all backwards the whole time, which is not important, but it made so much more stuff make sense. I
yeah.
legitimately thought this whole time he was extremely tall and just I, it changed the context for me.
Well, if you're just joining the universe and you don't know who Sarah Boone is, go to our
She's a
Too Long
red
Didn't Read.
flag.
He's a red flag. Go to our
Yes.
social and and watch the Too Long Didn't Read version. Kimberly is brilliant at stuff like this. It's a
Thank you.
great breakdown.
It's
But
not one of my red flag areas. It's a green flag
it's
area.
she's a raging green flag in that.
Mm.
But yeah, so just to as two sentences, she killed her boyfriend by him playing hide and seek, gets himself into a suitcase, zips it up, and she doesn't let him out. Falls asleep, wakes up the next
Allegedly.
day, he's dead.
Allegedly. I'm going to put the word allegedly and just make it like float across the screen because we're still in the allegedly phase. We
The
wanted
more
to,
you know.
yeah, we wanted to do a lot more of these videos on Sarah Boone before this point in the case because we really wanted to get this channel off the ground. And now, when we thought week one of jury selection, it was going to be a super slow because it was going to be a battle of the lawyers with varying level of wit. Suddenly, we're like maybe 3 full days of testimony in, and the state might rest tomorrow. Like, wait,
I
you're
know.
throwing out your how dare you rush this podcast?
Well,
Jeez.
so far, jury
Uh,
selection has been longer than their case.
it really was. It was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Did they do anything
So
on Thursday or did they start on Friday? I feel like they started on Friday.
maybe they started on Friday, but here's the thing. A lot of that jury selection time was a lot of the pre-trial hearings on she wanted snacks.
I mean, that's a relatable problem. I'm not gonna lie. I always want snacks, and if I can't have them, I am not famous. I'm gonna murder a double negative. No pun on the murder intended. And I'm gonna stop now. Um, I get murderously hangry, but this is different because I feel like. Do you think she really wanted those snacks, or do you think she was testing the judge to see like what she could get away with?
I think it was both.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. She's been in jail for 4 years, Kimberly. Like she knows what she will and will not get away with, but she's like, I'm not sitting in jail. Can I have some snacks? And it's like, I
Can
mean,
I
I'll
have
see
some
what's at the bottom
snacks?
of my purse and you can have what's there, you
I
know?
mean, half of her snacks. would be at the bottom of my purse. She wanted 5 peppermints. She didn't specify a brand, and that's weird to me because if I really want a peppermint or something that specific and 5 of them, I'd be like, hey, can I get some Werther's Originals? I really like those caramel things. I wouldn't be like, just go to the dollar store and find it. The fact that she wasn't specific with some of the snacks in the very weird quantities,
Yeah.
I don't know why it just the whole snack thing weirded me out. But I
Well,
mean,
first of all, I don't have peppermints at the bottom of my purse. I
my
just don't.
grandmother might.
Yeah.
I feel like my Nana or one of my bubbies probably had like purse crumbs, and included was like a half unwrapped peppermint, like
And
you get
here's
at the bank or like those lollipops.
Oh, yeah.
Do they still
Well,
do
here's
that, or is that like not sanitary
I don't
anymore
know,
to
do
hand out
people
candy?
go to the bank anymore?
That's true. I don't. I get really bent out of shape when I have to go anywhere that I used to go, but now I do like self-service at a
Yeah.
distance. I'm like, I have to go there. I have to call and talk to someone. No, thank you. That's a
Excuse
pass for
me.
me. I don't
But
want to
here's
do
the
that.
thing with I was gonna say, like with the snacks,
Yeah.
if I'm going to have the cojones to ask for snacks, I'm like, I want McDonald's French fries at 10 a.m., please.
Right before they stop making breakfast, though, when all
Yeah,
the breakfast grease and smell and taste is all over everything, like 10:29,
yeah.
I'd like my food.
Hey, if you're gonna do it, do big, go
Go
big.
big
Like,
or go home.
don't do the 5 peppermints and blah blah blah.
Swing for the fence.
I
That
know
was
it.
a weak.
You're swinging for
I'm gonna
fences.
stop making sports euphemisms. That's for sure.
Sports get
I
ball.
mean, sports get ball.
Yeah.
I'm actually into sports and I love watching sports. I don't have the most. I don't have the most like. They don't land well. Anyway, that's not important. Candy. Talk about candy.
Candy.
No snacks.
Well, no, let's go
I'm
from snacks
hungry.
to makeup.
Did she? She didn't get hair. She got hair, but she didn't get makeup, right?
I don't think she got
I don't.
hair.
I think she got like no. She got hair, but not in the sense that like a stylist came in. Like she was allowed to
A
have like a
hairbrush.
judicial, like a JA, do her hair or give her a blowout. I know that she was allowed to at least primp a little, but I don't think she got makeup, which sucks because one of my predictions was that this would be delayed by her demands for primping time, and none
So
of this is going the way I thought it was going to. So my predictions are basically
going down the toilet.
down the tubes. They're gone. I
Um,
was not prepared.
yeah, so apparently the bailiff was the one who intervened on the makeup motion to say she can't have makeup because that is the easiest way to get contraband. And the bailiff was like, that's a hard no from us. And so,
Interesting.
yeah, so the judge was like, okay, no. So,
Contraband. Like what? Well, I mean, I guess.
yeah, so apparently you can get LSD put in lipstick. I don't know. That's not really my crew, so I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not really my area of expertise. And
Yeah.
if it were, would I say that on the internet? No, I wouldn't.
Why would you say that?
I mean, I guess I get that part, the contraband. Well, that and depending on what type of makeup or what type of tool it is, I guess it could be considered a weapon. I don't know. We can't. It's not like we can see her face, though. I guess it's more important if the jury sees her face, but still, at least the front view of her face is not necessarily in view of the cameras the entire time, just like the side and the back of her head. Maybe that's why she got hair. At least she got the back of. Have you ever seen that? The back of your head looks ridiculous. My little croissant.
Yeah.
My little brie.
Well, here's the thing. I was looking at her today. It looks like she's wearing eyeliner.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that, but
I'll have to go back and look because now I'm curious.
Yeah, it looks like she's wearing eyeliner. So my next question to you is this. What do you think about her defense?
Oh, man. Well, I guess ultimately by the time this really gets any traction and goes anywhere, we're going to know her defense pretty well. Seeing as she's going on the stand tomorrow, which I got to say, I'm excited because this doesn't happen a lot. And even though I guess I don't understand what the difference is at this point because she's doing a narrative defense. So she's going to start to finish tell her story, but she still gets cross-examined. So what if you're still going to get cross-examined and be at risk of perjuring yourself, which is the whole point of the narrative, like I'm going to have to look into the nuances between the two, but I really, really think she should have stuck with this being an accident, because that is actually the most plausible. If you really just soup to nuts this high level 1,000-foot view, I would buy it being an accident, if not for the fact that she recorded herself heckling him like a really bad hinky 50s comedian from outside the suitcase. But you still could have leaned into, but I was also inebriated and I don't recall doing that. And then she says to the police 400 different times, well, we weren't drunk. I'm like, God, can you help yourself here at all? I would have believed an unfortunate accident or maybe just negligence on her part, but not red. I almost said the M word and got us kicked off.
Can't say that. Don't
Can't
say
get us
that.
kicked off of YouTube before we even get rolling. But
We just got here to say hello. They can't kick us out yet.
Right? You can't kick us out. I can't wait to look at red flag. That's my red flag. Profanity, or words that aren't allowed on the internet for some reason. I think her defense is, I'm going to have to bleep myself out, but her defense is, I think she screwed herself so badly between all the contradictory statements and all of the evidence being in contradictory, like, supposition to what I can't.
Sorry, my voice was like, okay, so here is what I thought was interesting. Okay, Sarah Boone, all throughout her police interrogation videos, talking to her attorneys, blah, 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 she's like, well, it was an accident.
Right.
Well, it's self-defense. Well, I'm a battered
fingers coming out of the suitcase.
Yeah. And so basically watching these pretrial motions, they're like, you cannot have all of these defenses. You have to pick one because there is a story, right? Like, we're playing offense, you're playing defense. And in sports.
I feel like we're playing whack-a-mole instead, but offense, defense. I don't know what game she's playing a whole other game. I
know. So the thing is this, they're like, you have to, if your defense is, we'll say, self-defense, okay? There are a list of things that have to fall under the category of self-defense for you to be able to use them.
Right.
So the state can say, pick apart, whatever.
You have to be in imminent danger, or a reasonable person has to believe that they would be in imminent danger to defend yourself. But he's in a suitcase.
And you apparently took a baseball bat to his fingers. How bad would that hurt?
And just to clarify, this is not funny in any way, shape, or form because someone died. But it's so ridiculous and has no basis in reality that it's really hard not to just be amused. I'll say just by Sarah Boone as a person, because you can't write this stuff. She's on her punch card. I thought she was going to have a 10th lawyer because maybe she did have a frequent flyer card. She got the 10th one free. Very Henry VIII of her. They're going to write songs. I'm going to jam. If Jelly Roll ever writes the Ballad of Sarah Boone to the tune of Henry VIII, like I mean, she is the Henry VIII of modern court cases with her and her damn lawyers. But I thought you were going to use the words you didn't ever want to hear again. Overt act.
I hate that term. I really do.
I don't want to trigger you, but
no. Well, and that's the thing, right? It's like, well, there had to have been an overt act, and it was like, and then I don't know. It just seems like she's trying to. You can't throw everything at the wall to see what sticks. You have to be like, this is what happened, and then to pick your story apart, or you sell your story and say this is what happened. But I'm with you. The best course of action would have been like, I made a mistake. Like, it was an accident. I didn't mean to kill him.
Right.
He got in the suitcase. I was drunk. I don't know what was going on. And I woke up late. Like, I'm a crappy person.
Yeah, it would have been better. That's not what happened.
No.
I think it's really interesting how much she's willing to gamble with a jury of 6 people who have eyes, ears, and according to other channels that you all know and love who are there and actively reporting and sharing with all of us, they're paying attention. These jurors have all their senses and sensibilities to make logical conclusions from the shit show of evidence, most of which is from her. It's all contradictory. They're all, capable of seeing very clearly that this doesn't make any sense.
Well, did you?
And
I know. Well, did you see where James Owens, her first chair attorney, was going to bring in for opening statements these huge pictures of her with a black eye?
yes. And he wasn't allowed to have those, right?
Well, the judge was like, no, and then
no.
no. And
No.
then he had explained what I believe it was like the definition of battered
Oh,
spouse, and it was
it was
incorrect.
reasonable doubt.
Reasonable doubt.
Yeah, and the statute or whatever the verbiage is, at least I'm going to assume in Florida,
Yeah,
the reasonable doubt language has since been adjusted. So it either
yeah,
happened and he didn't know, he didn't get the newsletter, he didn't go to that town hall meeting, or I mean, I would assume that it would be an easy mistake to make because anytime something changes procedurally anywhere, it takes time to latch onto that. But that's
right.
kind of important and relevant right now in what you're doing, and to not double check all of your exhibits and make sure everything was in line. You
He
can't
passed
give the
that on.
jury a definition for something that doesn't exist anymore because it's been changed.
I think that was a paralegal mishap. I
Yeah, but
think I know.
I'm that person. Maybe it's just me. Keep catching the light. It's like a disco party in here. Um, I, it, I know it's not just me. I know there's plenty of this is this is one of my red flags. I am a hyper perfectionist when it comes to work or things that will represent me in part or in whole, or
100%.
that I contributed to them. And I like to have my hands on everything in the sense that, can I just look it over? Can I make sure that we're all on the same page? I wouldn't want a paralegal or a JA to hand me an exhibit and just go, I trust you, Jennifer. You're good. You know how to spell. It's all in frame. It's
Yeah,
not blurry. No, I want to look at it myself and make sure that it is, you know, the way it's supposed to be. So ultimately, that falls on him for that little mishap. But then he went on live television. I have to imagine that. Do you think he took this case because he really wanted to help, or do you think he took this case because he's like an ambulance chaser that wants 15 minutes? Because if that's the case, he kind of put his foot in it there.
okay. I'll say this, and I can already hear people typing on the internet when I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Here in America, everyone deserves a defense.
Absolutely.
You deserve it. You have the right to it.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Boone's situation is a little nuanced, right?
That's a nice, delicate way of putting it. It's nuanced.
Yeah, it's nuanced. And I think, okay, so we're going to take a sidebar here. So I live in Florida and I took a little field trip over to Milton. I looked up James Owen's address for his law firm
I was
because I
about to
just
say,
wanted to go.
hello, stalker.
Yeah, exactly.
His address.
No, not his home address, but for his law firm because I was like, I'm close. I want to kind of see.
Mm-hmm.
It is a bail bonds store. Is it or bail bond? Is it a store, a facility, an office?
I mean, we can put some dignity on it. We can call it an office. I don't know though.
But
Just its hub. You need a place to do your business. I guess
yeah,
it's an office. We'll go with that.
yeah. So that's where it sent me to. Granted, he could have left that office and gone somewhere else. I don't know. Anyway, the
I'm
point
picturing this,
is,
and he gives me bail bonds, like above the bail bonds and dry cleaner vibe. So you're painting a
yeah.
picture.
Well, he was an elected defender.
So public defender.
Yeah. And he has spent many, many moons defending people,
Many, many moons.
doing the worst of crimes.
Mm-hmm. What's his success
And
rate? Do we know?
I don't know. I looked at it. However,
I'm gonna pull it.
yeah, I looked at the reviews because I was curious. And people are giving him bad reviews because he's helping Sarah Boone. Okay, internet. I know you have to internet sometimes.
That's a step too far
It's a
because
step too
that's his
far.
reputation, and you didn't procure his legal services and have an experience with him. It's like that lady. I don't know if this was DoorDash, Uber Eats, whatever it was. I don't know if you heard the story. Um, DoorDash delivers to a CVS employee who then pretends that she never got the food, makes a claim to DoorDash, and like I guess at this point in time it would penalize the DoorDash, and the DoorDash driver loses it. Like, no way. Goes back to the CVS. There's confrontation, and like, good for you. Like, I wouldn't if I really wanted to keep my DoorDash job. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to know when to cut your losses. But this lady had some cojones, as you said
Mhm.
earlier, to and it was really expensive food. Like she knew what she was doing. And then people went to that CVS like Yelp page. And I used to do Yelp Elite. So like there's nuances there. Owners really can't delete your reviews, FYI, in case anyone was wondering. And I
Really?
know that because I have had so many restaurants, spa, like places of business reach out to me after I've left a meh review because my review would get pinned to the top of their page as a sort of like highlighted preferred review.
Mhm.
So I know that Anthony Bourdain hated us hospitality influencers on Yelp, but it was effective because word of mouth is effective. It is I used to call them brand assassins. It takes one person to have a terrible experience with you and leave word of mouth or for that to travel, or brand champions that love you and will sing your praises. But word of mouth, it travels rapidly and it's the best advertising you could ever have. But it can erode, poison, and corrode everything that you value very quickly. And that CVS had to like shut down its Yelp page or something because there were hundreds of reviews just
Oh,
bashing this lady. It was all over the news. It's not okay. People at the end, I see you. You can't
okay.
be a friend of ours and do dumb like that. I'll bleep
Okay.
myself later. That's not
People in the
okay.
chat, if you can hear us, knock that crap off
Yeah, stop
because
it.
he has not. You have no reason to give him a review.
I mean, he's a little bit of a clown and he's not, bowling with a full set at this point, but he does not deserve your ire, and you are not doing anyone a service by leaving nasty reviews of his. Well, if he's a public defender, I don't know if it's practice or if it's just him, but you have not had an experience with him, and your
No.
perception of his performance here is not considered an experience. So please don't do crappy things and leave reviews for this poor guy who's volunteered to be here. Let's be fair. But
Yeah. And before he got to Sarah Boone, people largely were really happy with him. And one person left a bad review because he was like, he's leaving for a case in Orlando for an undetermined amount of time. Dropped
he
my
didn't
case.
know what reasonable doubt was, and my case got.
I know.
It's not funny. Stop leaving reviews.
Yeah.
Put
So
your
anyway,
big person pants on and go find something productive to do because
scroll on,
stop it.
people.
That
You get the red
massive red
flag for
flag.
that.
Like the internet is a fun place to be until it's not. So let's not make it a crappy place to be. But that really sucks. Like
It
he's
does. It's
kind of a
really
clown, but I
unfair.
don't think he deserves that. That's his
No,
livelihood.
he doesn't deserve that. Do I think he's going to get paid? Do I think this is like clout chasing? I mean,
A little bit.
honestly, Jodi Arias's attorney said
Ugh.
that it really about killed him.
And that's what I thought of Jose Baez. We've talked about that before. And he was a
Yeah.
relatively unknown, who's this joker that's just like coming up with these just ridiculous courtroom shenanigans. Like, I did not know who he was. And so many people clowned him too. Like, who is this guy? What is.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he pulled it out of the bag. Like, oh my God, he did it. Oh, and now he's like the Laura Wasser of
Yeah.
criminal trials now. He's just he's on everyone's to-do list. If you can have him on your wish list in your attorney bracket, like,
Of
okay.
defendants. Yeah.
Like Jose Baez, I guess he was the exception to the rule. And he turned
Sure.
out to have a pretty thriving career, but he's no Camille Vasquez, and he's certainly not James Owen, so I'll give him more credit than that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Okay, try not to laugh because it's not funny, but she is just a larger than life character. You just can't write this person. But how do you think her testimony is going to go tomorrow? Do you think she's going to keep it together and like be composed and follow instruct, or do you think this is going to derail? Because there's like a 50-50 chance, and I am so surprised by what's happened so quickly at this point, because if she's taking the stand tomorrow morning, that means the state's got to be almost done, and this trial got like sliced down to a third of the time. But like, do you think it's going to go well? I don't know.
I have two predictions of the Choose Your Own Adventure road.
Okay. What's prediction number one?
It's going to be very Amber Heard like, where she has stupid answers for everything, and she's going to fake cry, and she's going to make weird eye contact with the jurors, and they're going to be like, ugh. Or she's going to take this opportunity for it to be very much filibuster time. And she's going to keep talking until she gets a reaction out of someone on that jury that she thinks is good for her, and then she'll stop talking.
Well,
However, the attorneys can be like, okay, we get it. That's enough.
well, I mean, the judge will ultimately shut her down. She doesn't get to filibuster as much as she thinks she can, at
No,
least
but
as
I
much as
think
we
that's
presume.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
think that's her line of thinking. You know what I mean?
I think that I agree with the latter. I think she's going to just word salad the bejesus out of this and circle talk and just like smoke mirrors. Which hand is it? Like she is going to play.
Look over here.
Look over here. Like what's that game with the queen? Find the queen. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Hard games, sports euphemisms. Stick a fork in me today. But I think she is going to think that she is a more talented orator than she probably is.
Yeah.
And Murdoch the hell out of this and just keep talking and talking and talking, even though I'm sure her lawyers have begged to within an inch of their life and begged for her mercy to just follow the script, not the script, but the game plan. Don't divert, stick with it. No rabbit holes, no segues. This is not crisscross applesauce story time. This is you're going to prison.
Yeah.
You're going to go to prison because there's no way she's acquitted. I can tell you that. My prediction on her guilt is pretty ironclad, but she should have taken the deal.
Well, so today's Monday, the 20th?
21st. I don't know what day or year it is anymore, but I know it's October. Just
October
the month.
21st. So today they showed the police interrogation.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about Torres's body.
Mm-hmm. And did you see that they maybe not accidentally, maybe it was intentional. The autopsy photos, some of them were visible.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there were some images of like the arm, like the flank. Part of the photos were very clearly visible on the news live feed, so you could see some of the injuries, and then other photos weren't. So I don't know if that was intentional or if they noticed like, we need to. But
we do that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see those, but it was a very it didn't go well for her today. It really didn't.
I don't think it goes well for her most days, except for the small wins she got with like hair and makeup, or like this is not the time to start gambling, and she's clearly not very good at it. I think she stuck a fork in herself a long time ago, and I think tomorrow she is just going to have to fight the urge that she has to be the smartest person in the room. Something that really just I couldn't stop rolling my eyes. I was rolling my eyes so hard I was seeing out my own back when her lawyer's like, I almost said something else that probably would have got me kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah.
In the opening and several times after, I think, when her lawyer's like, she's a smart woman, but she's not worldly. Like, she's Pollyanna and has no idea about the ways of the world. She's not worldly. What the hell does that have to do with anything? She's clearly smart enough to be diabolical, not very good at it. But it doesn't matter that she's worldly or not. That has nothing to do with her propensity to commit second-degree red rum And it certainly doesn't have anything to do with her character as far as what she did and didn't do in this case. But she's a smart woman. I just don't know if she's as smart as she thinks she is. And she's going to blow it for herself tomorrow. But there's no way she can't get on the stand because there's facts of the case and evidence that the only way that they can really take their at bat seriously as her defense lawyers is to put her on the stand to answer the questions that can't be answered with evidence. And well, that has to be a hard, very large, dry pill to swallow.
I think that James Owens has his work cut out for him for the next few days and probably won't be sleeping much.
No.
So,
and those jurors apparently are very. So this is interesting because I was watching something on another case, the Delphi case. I'm trying to bounce from thing to thing. It's very hard. It becomes a lot less fun to listen to trials when you're like, I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to listen to today.
Yeah.
I have content to make. But I was listening to Lawyer Lee. Love her. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Lawyer Lee.
She's obviously watching. We love you.
Obviously. She's our biggest fan.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a Patreon member. For Patreon, we don't even really have like working yet. Like,
her and Taylor
Swift.
So
sorry, Lawyer Lee.
Yeah.
Please don't hate us. The jurors in Delphi are allowed to ask questions.
Some
I like that.
You can.
I like that because it's fresh in the moment. If you're looking at an autopsy photo or something or scientific evidence that you don't understand, I don't want to wait till deliberations, however many days or weeks later, to remember my question. Like I like that they can ask questions ongoing during the trial. I think that's probably a lot more convenient for them in making sure they understand what's going on too. But apparently the jurors in this case look super invested and very, very, just like I don't know what she's doing, playing tic-tac-toe by herself, hangman. She's always writing something. You know what, internet, say what you want about me. I don't care. She's always like frantically writing and looking she's busying herself at the table. Like she's peacocking. She's confident. I'm not fazed. But those jurors are apparently taking massive, serious notes and like they look super tuned in and engaged. So her goose is definitely cooked.
I know. I have noticed a change in just today how much she has pulled back on writing. And she's not like shaking her leg all the time or trying to talk to someone or fidgety. And apparently today the judge told her that she cannot turn around and look at the gallery.
Oh, I know it was either opening day, opening statements, or right at the end of voir dire. I was watching and she does a full 180 and like survey with a big smile on her face to survey. I was like, what is she doing?
I'm wondering if she's like,
especially because there's nobody there. Yeah, there's nobody there that has been accounted for that's there for her, like friends, family. Who are you looking for if not to just... And she just panned and was really she looked like she was about to accept an award for something. She turned around like, oh, look at all my fans. No.
And
I'm sure that probably made people really uncomfortable too. Like, oh, she's making eye contact with me.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I didn't do anything to you.
So I don't think that judge is going to let her take the floor and, do the Irish goodbye with her narrative tomorrow. I think the judge will keep her on the straight and narrow and keep her train on the tracks and her rave squirrels in the tree, so to speak. But
and
I don't envy it. I don't envy the job.
No. Well, and I think too that judge probably sees her like turning and smiling and waving as like he wants to have control over whatever situation is happening in there, which kudos. That's fine.
I mean, it's your courtroom.
It's your courtroom.
By all means.
Everybody looks straight ahead. You don't look at each other. You don't talk to each other, blah, blah, But anyways, so my questions for the next couple days is the prosecution resting tomorrow?
I think it's possible.
Does Sarah Boone this week get up in her own defense and there's a part B?
Lesser included. Let's hear them.
Does she keep her story straight?
Yeah.
And my third is how much character bashing are we going to be doing during the defense?
I have one thing to say that is not, I assume you mean about George Torres.
Uh-huh.
So this is not victim blaming. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. It's not funny. It's not amusing. Someone has died. However, if she had smart attorneys, and I don't know why no one is talking about this. If they are, I haven't heard it. But I'm seeing something that I don't think anyone else is really taking notice of. It's probably going to get filed under the most obscure defense you could possibly like put on at this point. But I mean, she has nothing to lose at this point. At this point, bring in the circus monkeys with the symbols to distract the jurors, because it's not like she's got a solid case to begin with. You might as well. But we've talked about how suitcases, plastic bags, anything that a child could crawl into and harm themselves or get stuck inside of, like a suitcase. They have Prop 65 warnings about the chemicals that go into suitcases and like materials. And although that was designed for, women and children, especially pregnant women.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm so worked up. My throat's dry now. One could say that he should have understood the risk he was taking by getting into the suitcase, number one. The probable reasonability that if this is a volatile relationship and they are unpredictably violent with each other, that probably not a good idea to get vulnerable and lock myself in a suitcase.
Yeah.
And then, it's like ironing your clothes with the stupid, like, I wonder who are the people, and it couldn't have just been one. Who were all of these people who ironed with their clothes on that we have to have warnings about not using a hot iron while wearing clothing? Somewhere along the lines, you're just expected inherently to know not to do that, even if you don't read the label. Well, one could argue he should have known he shouldn't have gotten in the suitcase. One, because it's got harmful, hazardous materials. And two, because it makes him completely vulnerable. Anyone would be vulnerable contained in a suitcase or restrained in any way, especially if you're with someone who you have this, whether they're both the aggressors or not, it's clearly a toxic, volatile, unsafe relationship. He put himself at a reasonable risk of injury or death, and that goes for her too. She should have expected that even inebriated, I don't know why I'm using quotes. She was drunk. Let's just say it.
They were both drunk.
Any reasonable person would believe, even if it's just the smallest chance, and it's like just not fathomable, that you could get stuck in a suitcase and die. They both equally could have considered, but no one's talking about the fact, at least I don't know anyone that's pro Sarah Boone. I don't think I have met, read, or interacted with anyone that's like, no, it was a terrible. A lot of people would agree that it might have been an accident, but not her intentions. Like, no one's like, oh, poor Sarah. I don't see that. I would love to see it. I am open-minded, but it just, yeah, I don't know. I think that I would swing for that fence and die on that hill if I knew I was going down on a sinking ship. Maybe that's because she's delusional. She doesn't actually think she's on a sinking ship. She might think she can win, which is why she rejected a plea deal, which is delusional, but not the point. I would have swung there and said, you know what? He reasonably, too, could have foreseen that he could have been injured or died. Where's the culpability on his part? And now, just to be clear, that's not how I feel about this case. But it is an angle. It's an angle that I don't hear anyone talking about. And if we're throwing things to the wall to see what sticks.
Now, the fact that it was imminently dangerous, I think, is belied by the fact that Jorge Torres voluntarily entered the suitcase, albeit under the influence of alcohol. But the perception of dangerousness that's attributable to the victim, apparently he did not perceive it to be a dangerous or imminently dangerous situation in having entered the suitcase, possibly because of the influence of alcohol on his capacity to make decisions, should necessarily be attributed to the defendant as well.
I know.
That's what I'm going to throw in this hypothetical. I'm throwing it.
And at this point, I think it would be objected to because it doesn't fall into that battered spouse that she's choosing to go with, right?
Right.
So I think if she went with it was an accident, you could have thrown that in there probably, but
I mean,
anyway.
if either of the prosecutors know how to push her buttons, it's different than with other cases where, you know, like Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, Camille Vasquez is a viper, and she knew how to push buttons. She zeroed it.
Yes.
Bless her heart. She is my spirit animal. But this is not necessarily going the way that other cases have, where the lawyers and the witnesses and or the defendant really have a dialect, like Georgia Kappelman and Charlie Adelson. I can't even say his name without like Charlie Adelson. She basically almost verbatim, I think, pointed at him and said, "You're a mama's boy." Like she knew how to tick him, like to get him to tick. And she didn't rock him enough to make his testimony suffer from what his plan was. But like, I don't think there's enough of a relationship here where someone's going to say something or know how to rattle her. So she totally derails from what she's supposed to say tomorrow and just says, you know what? Mic drop. I'm just going to say what I need to say. I don't think anyone can do that. This is not. It all happened very quickly, even though it's taken 4 years. Like the last 2 weeks have been like, wait, what?
It's very anticlimactic for me.
But do you think there's a possibility that someone can poke her enough that she just derails and just turns it into open mic at a trap house?
I don't know, because I don't think I've seen that from any of the prosecutors.
Right.
I think we've seen a lot of like, it's the same cadence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's very mono. It's almost like Ben Stein. Like it's like,
Yeah.
it's very. Yeah. I'm curious, and I don't usually look forward to stuff like this with so much and like, I'm so motivated. I can't wait. I have my alarm set in my phone tomorrow so that I can tune in on time and not miss anything and have to go back and be on the rewatch crew.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
well, yeah. Well, we're all going to rehash it for sure. I think this is a good spot to end.
Yeah, we can be here all night.
We could be here all night talking about the ins and outs of this. However, stay with us. Turn all of those notifications on so you know when we're going to be back. We want to keep talking about it. We want to talk to you about it. In the comment section, put what questions you have. What do you want answered this week? What are you looking forward to?
You can be here all night in the comment section.
In the comment section.
All night. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, also, what is Sarah Boone going to do tomorrow? Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you see this, it might be too late. But who cares? What did you think was going to happen? What did it happen?
She might be on the stand twice this week.
If she filibusters, she could still be on the stand by the time people watch this.
Yeah.
In any case, anything Sarah Boone related, questions, comments, put them in the comments. I mean, this case kind of wrapped up a lot quicker than it ramped in. Words are not coming to me now, but this just kind of blink and we're almost done.
Yeah.
So
you would have missed it. However,
we have to talk to you. We're here.
We have to talk to you. You're on the journey.
Each
other about it. You're on the jury. What do you want to know?
Yeah. What do you want to know? Tell us.
Tell us in the comments below.
In the comment section, and make good choices, friends. Just don't document them on the internet, and we will see you soon.
Start over. We're so stupid.
We're so extra.
We have no business being on the internet.